So the 2021 draft has come to an end. The whole big process is now over. So it is now time to break down what happened over the last week, what trades were made, and who the Jazz ended up with. That guy ended up being Jared Butler, a guard out of Baylor who were the 2020-2021 national championship team in the NCAA. I am extremely happy with this pick. I feel like it filled a gap that needed to be filled, filling that backup point guard, shooting guard type guy that the Jazz needed. But we got to figure out, what is this guy worth? What is he capable of? What are his strengths and weaknesses? All that kind of thing. And who can we compare this guy to? So, before we get started, if you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button, because we put out the best Jazz content out there. And we go live for every NBA game. And we're trying to make a lot of content for you guys over this offseason. Keep you guys in the loop. And we will be doing that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button before we get started. But without further ado, let's get into it. So Jared Butler, a guy from Baylor, and actually originally from Reserve, Louisiana, and played high school ball at Riverside Academy. He's a 6'3", 195-pound guard. And the first thing you might think is, why are we drafting a guy like this if we had issues guarding point guards and small ball lineups in the NBA playoffs and just kind of throughout the season? Small ball lineups killed us. Well, this guy kind of breaks that mold of 6'3" and under players being bad defensively. In fact, in that last season with Baylor, he averaged 2 steals a game, which is insane. And being 6'3", he's guarding the primary ball handler on a lot of teams. So basically, he's taking the ball away from guys who are really good at handling it. So I like this guy, and the Jazz are never really going to have to look at him as a liability on the defensive end, which is crucial because we need guys who can really make plays on that end. His 2020-2021 stats for the Baylor Bears were 16.7 points a game on 47% from the field for field goals, 52% on 2 points, and 41% on three-pointers. He had 4.8 assists per game, 3.3 rebounds, 2.0 steals, and 12.5 field goal attempts per game. And this is also a guy in his last year in college, or in his junior year in college actually, who stepped up his game on the assist level of the game, finding his teammates, making them better. And that was something that really kind of propelled this team to go to the NCAA championship, make it through March Madness, and ultimately win the whole thing. Some of his accolades include an NCAA championship, NCAA all-tourney, all-region. He was the tourney most outstanding player, which is essentially Finals MVP in NBA terms. He was a consensus All-American, 2 times All Big 12. Big 12 All-Defense, and Big 12 All-Freshman. That's a typo. But, the whole thing about this guy is great personality. If you haven't seen the presser already that was released by the Utah Jazz, great stuff in there. Go check that out. But this is a kid who is willing to work. He's got a good heart. I think that he's just happy to be here, and he's willing to get stuff done. So let's talk about his strengths. This guy is a great ball handler. He shifts his direction really, really well. And, just that kind of thing in general is going to be super helpful for the Jazz. And he's behind a guy now. Well, presumptively, we're going to have Mike Conley at starting point guard, so he's going to be able to be mentored by Conley. And one of the things that I'm looking at is how high can we put Butler on the priority list. We need to get him high, because if he doesn't develop, then that's another wasted draft pick. Udoka Azubuike was just completely wasted, because right after we got him, we signed Derek Favors. He had no room to grow, no playing time. This guy needs to have playing time, because he can develop. He can be really good if we put him in the position where he can do that. But he does have a really, really good offensive arsenal and profile. You got to like what you see there. Great three-point shooter. Again, 41% from downtown in his last year in college. That's something that helped him stay involved in Baylor's offense during the tournament, when sometimes he would kind of struggle from the floor, which is something that happens a lot in the NCAA tournament. If you watched it quite a bit, some players, you get hit with that higher higher, all eyes on you kind of thing. It's a lot more pressure, and he wasn't able to produce as well, but he still got it done, and that three-point ball was really one of the things that helped him. And also, I mean, this is something that I already touched on, but he is strong on the defensive end. A lot of effort comes from him. He tries to get steals, and he really is just fantastic on the defensive side of the ball. So you really have to look at this guy as somebody who's a 3-and-D, but also can pass quite a bit, and that's something that I'm looking at a lot. One of the weaknesses for him, and this is something that I don't want to force upon everyone, but he does have a slight heart health issue, and it's not something that's plagued him or anything. He hasn't missed time for it necessarily, but it's just a looming kind of thing where they gotta watch it. This Jazz health system, they had a little bit of fallout in the end of last year, but hopefully we can keep that in check. Make sure he's not getting any LaMarcus Aldridge action. If you guys didn't see that, he had some issues with irregular heartbeats, and he could feel it during a game, and that's kind of what that was. So just got to keep a check on it, make sure nothing happens in regards to that. The only thing that people have stated is an issue for Jared Butler and is his size and athleticism. But the thing that I'm looking at the most was that he was able to produce on the defensive end being his size. And that's something that you really got to look at and be happy with. Other guys who were available when the Jazz were picking, you look at like Luka Garza or maybe Ayo Dosunmu. I'm not sure if he stayed that long, but he was pretty close to there. They have pretty much capped in athleticism terms. And that's something that is tough because they're a little bit older. You look at Luka Garza, I'm pretty sure that was his senior year right there. He's really good on offense. He's a monster on offense. Defensively, he's just terrible. And that's something that you're not going to get with Jared Butler. I mean, he's just strong defensively, forcing 2.0 steals a game. Like, that is not easy to do at 6'3", but he did it. And I think he's going to be really good. A player comparison for him, this is what I'm seeing online. It says he compares really well to Kyle Lowry, and Kyle Lowry wasn't immediately a really good contributor, but eventually he became a little bit better, and he is now a pretty good contributor in this league. They're both really undersized for their position, but they have the athleticism to overcome that. And he might not reach Lowry's heights because Lowry is really good, but he does have a pretty similar style of play. So, I mean, that's really all you got to know about this guy. I love him. I feel like he's gonna be in the rotation, and I feel like he's gonna have a role on this team. I don't know how big that role is gonna be, but I want it to be big because we need to keep developing guys, even if we're a really good team. And I don't know the ceiling for this team this year. It looks like they're still planning to make moves. And I hope that they never move this guy. I want him to be in Utah for now. We need to develop him, see what he's capable of at the pro stage. If he's good, then you got to give him minutes. That's my thing. Give him minutes. You got to test it out. And also, just some news that was dropped today, Matt Thomas was waived, which made him getting minutes over Elijah Hughes so much more pointless. You just got to develop the guys that you draft, and we haven't done that in the past 1 or 2 years, so you got to get this done. But this is this is probably the most excited I've been about a pick since we drafted Grayson Allen, which was only a couple of years ago, so don't laugh at me, but I really liked Grayson Allen, and he turned out to be a decent player in this league. You really have to just look at it and look up to it. This is something to look up to for next season. We got to get over last season. We got to develop players. I think this is a good start. So that's going to be my take on it. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. And if you like this content, please be sure to leave a like and a subscription. That would really help out the channel. It really does help us. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys.